Hello and welcome from wherever you may be around the world today. And thank you for joining our discussion today around logistics planning and transportation scheduling. Obviously, that's a very hot topic with the challenges that organizations are suffering with moving products around the globe. I'm Paul Funnell from Mastec, and I'm pleased to introduce our project managers today, Jigesh and Vinay, who have recently been involved in the delivery of a project at Zamil Industries, a Mastec client who will explain today how they went through the process of delivering a new transportation solution. Very pleased to also announce today that we have Baljit Naji, one of the supply chain specialists at Oracle. And over a number of years, Baljit has actually been engaged directly with Zamil in their digital transformation program. So over the next 45 minutes or so, we hope to provide you with some useful insights into both the challenges, the delivery phases, and also the benefits of what investing into Oracle Transportation, or OTM, as you will hear it referred to quite regularly during this session, how people have gone through those challenges. So for those of you who don't know about Mastec, and this is your first introduction, just a quick little insight. So we're a global consulting business, and we focus on helping our clients solve complex business problems. And in the main, we're actually using the Oracle application suite to do that. We find that the best way of working is collaborating with our clients, and we often find that helps common working practices. It helps to innovate or create innovation, and also helps in the leadership side of technology and investment, helping our clients grow new sustainable IT platforms from which they can grow their businesses. And I think you'll see that through the discussions that we'll have during today with Zamil Industries. So just a quick piece about Oracle Transportation as well. As we know, the world of logistics is changing very much, and new technologies are therefore very much needed to help connect global trading partners, shipping organizations, and even not forgetting our own internal organizational communication. So it's a growing challenge, particularly bearing in mind there are so many different data formats available these days, and all that data is being deployed through multiple different devices and sources. So there's a lot more pressure on organizations as to how they can actually span the whole of that transportation or global logistics process. Mastec as an organization, we have a number of clients, and you'll see an example of a couple of those in a moment. But you'll actually see here some of the rapid type of deployment solutions that we've used with our clients to help accelerate this process of growth and to help specific client business problems as well. So working with Mastec is not just about delivering out-of-the-box solution. We will help solve a complex business problem for you. So here's an example that some of our logistics clients who we've been working with over recent years, some of the challenges they faced, and then more importantly, some of the business benefits they've been able to achieve. And as you'll see across, these happen to be a number of what I would call consumer product or retail type organizations, but actually any of these solutions would apply across any industry. So I'd like to thank you for joining today, and actually just like to run a short little survey with you. We're always interested to hear why people want to join our webinars and hear about us. So Deepa, if I could ask you please to kick off the first poll question. Thanks very much. So that, as I say, the key reason here is to find out why you've joined us today for this presentation. I'll give that another 15 or 20 seconds to go, and we'll move on. Excellent. Well, again, you may not have heard of Mastec, and similarly, it's possible you've not heard of Zamil Industries, but they're a very strong organization, particularly across the Middle East and Asian areas of the world. So I've got a short introductory video here that should give you a little bit of insight as to who Zamil Industries are. So I think that gives you a quick insight as to who Zamil are, and you see some quite innovative manufacturing type processes they're using there. And again, some of the major logistical challenges they have with moving some of their products around the globe. You'll also have seen there that learning and training makes up a big part of their business. And I know that Jigesh will cover some of those items a little bit later on. I think one thing to note here as well is that this particular project, as the guys will mention, was actually delivered during COVID times as well. So it actually kicked off at a time where new ways of working had actually come to play. So I think it's testament to the fact that the projects actually went live on time and everything was delivered as expected. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to Jigesh and Vinay to give quick introduction and work our way through life at Zamil Industries. Jigesh, across to yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Ford. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the session. My name is Jigesh Samakalil. I'm working with Zamil Industries for last 15 years, working as a program manager. I'm handling the support and development activities in various Oracle technologies in Zamil Industries. Started with Oracle Forms, reports, then EPS interfaces, Apex. Now recently, OTM is also been added under my portfolio. So handling these many technologies from Oracle technologies. Now, coming into the OTM is a fantastic application providing a great flexibility to handle your transportation needs. Whether you are a service provider or a service consumer, it gives a variety of options to manage your transportation needs. Now, we will cover much more details in the later sessions on the latest slides. Let me quickly give some brief about my organization. Zamil Industrial, talking about Zamil Industrial is a part of Zamil family-owned business group, and it is a listed company in Saudi Arabia, which was formed in 1998. Over 9,000 people are working over here across 55 countries on the globe, and we have product serving in more than 90 countries. And we, as a organization, we have a very large scale sectors available in it. We have a big portfolio where we have HVAC solutions, where we work on the AC sectors, air conditioner sectors. In this itself, we have multiple entities available. Building structure solutions, where we have pre-engineering buildings, structural steel buildings. This is basically the building manufacturing, then tower and galvanizing, then process equipment, where we produce the high pressure vessel equipments, and then installation solutions. Can you please move to the next slide? Now, coming on to the Zamil project overview, we took up this project with a wide objective actually. This will rescale the entire group, its activities, system connectivity, reachability, and the process improvement. Let's quickly go through the main points. One is restructuring the business units into a single unified platform, standardize the process, applications, industries, adopting the industry's best practices, streamline and automate the process from CRM to the financial reporting, reduce cost and increase revenue through automation and data analysis. We have much more. We have not covered all because of the time limitations. Can you please move to the next slide? Yeah. On to the SaaS program overview. Now, why we move to cloud? We have multiple reasons for that. The main reasons are we have multiple EBS instances. As I mentioned, we have multiple presence in different countries. So all are running in EBS instances. So we have multiple instances. Many in-house applications we have, like legacy applications. Now, because of this, there is a lack of standardization since we run it in different entities, different places. The benefits of moving into cloud will be a global instance. We will be in a global instance for all the ZI entities. ZI is nothing but Zamil Industrial. And now applied shared services, we'll be using one shared services for across the industrial practice. Now, upgrading every quarter, we are going to get an upgrade from Oracle. So these are all the main benefits. We are not going to cover all. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, before SaaS, actually, as I mentioned, we have multiple EBS instances in place, Saudi, India, Vietnam, and all EBS modules we are using. And these modules are interconnected with multiple legacy applications or some of the external applications. So it's a very complex structure right now we have. So it leads us to go with a standard solution or a single instance where we can leverage more at reporting at the group level, taking the analytics at the group level. So there are much more benefit when we go with a single single system, single instance. So that's why we took up the cloud project. Yeah, next slide, please. So the benefits and challenges. Of course, there were a lot of challenges going ahead with this project, as it was a 360-degree change in Zamil Industrial. Entire thing was changing in case of technology, in case of some best practice, adopting the best practices. So not only for the business, even for the IT, it was a drastic change. So stakeholder management, process alignment, converting legacy process from the legacy applications to OTM standard applications, standard capabilities, resistance. There was a big resistance from the user side. Obviously, that will be there as they're continuously working with a well-settled EBS and legacy applications. Then training was another challenge where we gone through it. We have come up with some solution for training. So there were technical issues that is normal with any such big scale project, data migration, integrity complexity. There are much more actually. We have not covered all. Can you please move to the next slide? Yeah. Now, what was the scope in the current SaaS project? We call it as actually a SaaS project for this. Now, considering the sectors, we divided this project into 3 phases. The first phase was for HVAC sector, our AC sector, which went live in April 2021, actually during the COVID time. And the second phase, we went live in 2022, and the phase 3, which is currently going on, we are at the initial phases of gathering the requirements. In first phase, actually, we touched almost all the modules interconnected with the supply chain management system. We have HCM in place where we have implemented across the GCC across the sectors actually. And Zamil Industrial, where we used as a shared service, we implemented few modules over there. And in HVAC sector across Saudi and Bahrain, we have implemented all these modules, whichever is available in SCM, and we have interconnected system, also integrated applications and some interconnected system which seamlessly integrated with our Fusion modules. Now in this, we have incorporated the transportation OTM system. We went live with transportation management, operation planning, transportation sourcing, freight management, and global trade management. We'll talk more about these modules in later stages. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Paul.
Smashing. Thanks, Jigesh. Thank you for that really good insight. And we can see there the challenges that Zamil were facing over recent time. Vinay, could I ask you just to give a sort of quick hello introduction at this point? And then I know, obviously, a lot of the success of this program has been down to the collaboration between yourself and Jigesh. And I know you had a catch up recently, and we've got an extract from some of that to play as well.
Sure. Thank you, Paul. Hello, this is Vinay. I was the one who led the Zamil OTM project with Jigesh specifically. So it's been great working with Jigesh, and definitely, working for such a good project and putting across the solution which helped us business at the end has been a great experience, and definitely looking forward for long-term collaboration with Zamil with solution. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinay. And let's have a quick look at that catch up that you guys had a couple of weeks ago.
Hi, Vinay. It was a great experience working with Mastech and you on the Fusion project and transportation management implementation for our SaaS phase 1 project. As we have a wide variety of business in each sector, along with the legacy system in place, how difficult was it to map Zamil requirement with Oracle transportation management capabilities and provide us the best fit? I would like to hear from you.
Hello, Mr. Jigesh. It's nice talking to you on a SaaS of Zamil project that we have implemented. Now, talking about the complexity in the project, definitely, when you have ERP and OTM, definitely there are multiple integration, multiple touch points, and the part of complexity does also come into the picture. So to give you high level of idea what how did we actually fit in OTM with Zamil's business process. So there are certain Oracle OTM's cycle, we start from taking the rates from the carrier and do the settlement and do the reportings. So there are multiple high level key objects in the Oracle transportation management, which we mapped it with the current business process and try to leverage the standard practices that could be used to tailor the best fit solution for Zamil Industrials. So I'll start, if you see my screen, right? So in the screen, we have starting from the source carriers, right? And ending at the reports and analytics. So there are multiple, I would say, key business operations of the processes, which I'll be explaining from sourcing carrier till the reporting. So let's take ahead with this. So for Zamil Industrial, before OTM, right? So before OTM, what we understood, the rates, everything was maintained outside the system. Everything was manual, I would say, right? So with source carriers, what we have done, we try to understand the operations and the processes with you and try to convert those contracts and the rates into OTM, right? That means it could be for the freight forwarder, the brokers, the carriers, right? And what is the clearing charges and all those things which are considered as a part of contract. We converted those contract which was there on the paper or on the Excel to a logical method in which we have configured that into Oracle Transportation Management. That comes under source carriers. Then we also plan the orders. So when you have to plan the orders, you have to get the orders into the system, right? So with this, we integrated Oracle Transportation Management with ERP. So when I say ERP, it is we have taken orders from procurement for the purchase orders, order management for order management, inventory orders. So we've taken all the orders into OTM and tried to convert those into a shipment. Now, while converting into a shipment, we did created the shipment based on the current business rules and the processes that were also considered. If it is an inbound shipment, certain rules and the operations are supposed to be followed. If it is outbound shipment, certain business operations and the processes were supposed to be enabled and implemented. So that would cover into the planned orders into a shipment. So once we converted order into a shipment, then we managed to cover the tender or book shipment. So when we talk about tender and book shipment, in this we created the shipment and sent to the multiple systems where we're supposed to execute it. For example, we tender the shipment to the carrier. So here, if we confirm the shipment, then what happens? The shipment goes to the inventory. If it is a sales order, it goes to the inventory and the inventory will start doing the picking and ship confirm. Similarly, if it is an inbound shipment, we are sending the shipments to inventory to see what quantity they're supposed to be receiving. And then we will talk about the monitor in transit status. And this monitor in transit status has been the key operation, right? Which was not there in the legacy system. And as a part of operations, which for inventory to when are they going to receive the item? So that was not clear because earlier they used to send emails internal to the Zamil team to understand that, okay, when is my material going to be received? Where is the material? All those things were kind of manual and over emails. Now with OTM, right? What they can do, they can just put the container number and understand where the particular shipment is. They can use the bill of lading number, they can use the container number, whichever reference number they have it. They could use it and identify where or find out, I would say, that where their consignment or the shipment is or where the purchase order is. So this has been a kind of very significant change with us as project when we talk about the inbound shipment. Now we talk about audit and pay invoice. So here also there has been a major change in the process when we talk about with what it was what Zamil used to follow in the legacy system. It's completely different. Now audit and pay invoice has, I would say, the ownership, I would say the ownership of the invoice or authenticity of invoice is far better because now logistics team can fill in the value or the dollar value, right? That how much cost has to be added or has to be modified before it is actually being sent or submitted to the financials. There are certain approval rules also that we have enabled in this so that there is a proper approval which is required for the logistics team to have it before it is being sent to the financial team for settlement. So those roles, the rules, all those things which were not there before are being tailored specifically for Zamil Industrial and enabled as a part of implementation for HVAC. Now we talk about the reports and analytics performance. So when we talk about the reports and analytics performance in this wide operation, right? So there are multiple reports that are required. Some are operational reports, some are just reports for their performance analysis, right? So we have configured the report based on such requirements. So when we talk about inbound shipments, right? So for the inbound shipment, there are country of origin documents, commercial invoice documents, right? Packing list documents. Some are required to be in Arabic format, some are into English format. So all those things, those are required as a part of documentation, were cleanly handled by logistics team because of this reporting tool which is there in OTM. So with this, all the involved party which are there involved in the transportation can able to view the report, access the report, download the report, upload the reports. So this has given quite a good of flexibility and visibility as a part of process across the logistics team. So with this, so what we have talked about how rates were there, how the planning was done, how the execution has been done, how the settlement was done or planned as a part of implementation for Zamil Industrial project. Now, the next slide, if you see that there are major modules that we have considered as a part of implementation, and we have tried to follow the best possible way to make sure that we try to fit in all these modules so that Zamil Industrial should be able to follow the kind of best industrial practice when it comes to logistics and transportation. So these are few modules which are green. They're absolutely implemented and being under implementation, which are running currently, and the yellow one which are there, but which would be further utilized in the exhaustive manner in the upcoming implementations.
Thanks, Vinay. Thanks for giving a detailed explanation on OTM capabilities and risk mapping. Can you tell me about the before and after process, and can you showcase a high-level mapping based on the Zamil process?
Yes, the before and after processes. So before OTM was implemented, ERP was EBS, which was on premises, and the custom logistics application, which we used to call ICC. So there was one-way communication which was going from OTM, which was going from EBS to ICC, and there was no communication back. So now with OTM Fusion implementation, there is a bi-directional communication between Fusion and OTM. So when I talk about the bidirectional integration or the link, that means when the PO is getting created in OTM, we are sending back the AHNs to ERP, that when they're going to receive it in inventory. Similarly, when you're creating a order management and you're creating a sales order, it gets order into OTM, we create a shipment, send this back to inventory for the picking and shipping. Similarly, we have also managed to map OTM with the financials so that we can do all the freight settlements. As there is a freight for the transportation charges, those freights are to be settled for broker and the freight forwarders.
Okay.
That is also being mapped from OTM to the ERP.
Great. I would like to know, like, what is the middleware used for these integrations, and what are the best practices which we have incorporated in this implementation?
So when you talk about the middleware, we have used OIC, Oracle's, it is OIC, it is Oracle Integrated Cloud Services. So that middleware we have definitely leveraged the capabilities of OIC. And when you talk about the best practices, definitely we have tried to cover the implementation with maximum best practices possible, considering the business challenge and the complexity. So to show it, there are 8 best practices that we usually take into the consideration. Out of that, we have considered almost all of them as a part of implementation. You talk about the taking orders, managing orders, how to get the orders with respect to the different criterias or the items which they have, selecting the carriers for planning it, and when you ship the material, sending the notifications, how you manage the notification to their logistics team or the logistics planner. When are they going to receive the shipment? When are they going to receive the orders? So all those things are done. Shipping documents for the, as I said, when you're doing the import and export, you need documentation, import and export document. That is also being derived from OTM's transactions. Then we talk about the managed shipments. The managed shipment, it's about the tracking. You create a shipment, you get the tracking event, or you add the tracking event, and how it cascades down to automatic generation of invoicing and all those things based on the events. Then freight management and billing. Then how are you going to manage the freight? Do we need to create the consolidated invoice or the standard invoice, or invoices to be sent to a specific GL code, and all those things which are part of any financial entries when you talk about the logistics charges. So those are being considered as a part of implementation that Oracle Transportation Management, OTM, that we say, is integrated with ERP in such a manner that it actually handles and communicates all the freight related details and transactions in the right manner. I had definitely one question, probably I should be asking here.
Yeah.
So what with the implementation of OTM and the best practices or the integrations capabilities that I talked about, right? I just want to know what is the impact, or I would say benefit, of implementing OTM for Zamil Industrial. How do you see it?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Benefit, there are a lot of benefit now. Before coming to the benefit, as you know, this was a very large scale project which we were doing, and we have done the first phase of it. In this phase itself, it was a large scale because there are multiple entities involved in this. Now we will continue with this journey with the same momentum in our phase 3 as well. I would like to thank for the support and guidance and incorporating all the practices on the best way for the best fit into this phase 1 implementation. Now coming on to the benefits, yes, a lot of benefits are there from the system perspective, from the operation perspective. A lot of benefits are there. I'll quickly go through a few of these, like technical integrations. Now the systems are interconnected, where from the Fusion system, we are getting the purchase order management. From the order management, we are getting the sales order, transfer order. These are being seamlessly integrated with our OTM, and we are sending back the planned shipment ASN, which is nothing but the receiving shipment details, and even the invoicing back to Fusion. So the systems are interconnected right now, which gives us more flexibility in our planning and forecasting and all. Now, talking about the visibility, one of the biggest benefit which we have achieved over here is this one. Like we are able to trace out our incoming materials, based on which we can do the forecasting of production. Even receiving team can do their required things, preparing documents. Everything can be done on time. So that was on the visibility side. Now cost level, as you said in the earlier slide, that we have incorporated the complete rates, our contractual rate into OTM. That is one of the biggest benefit. Now user need not to feel or worry about the rates. It will be automatically picked. And another challenge was like we have multiple organization plays and multiple GL codes for each and every element in the invoice. So that has been handled within OTM, so that user need not to select anything. Automatically, the figures will go and hit into the specific GL codes. That was one of the biggest thing which we have achieved in this. Now, coming about the third-party interactions, you know, forwarders, brokers, and carriers are a part of this implementation, this particular system. Now they're working as a part of Zamil Industrial, and they provide us adequate information on time-to-time basis, which helps us even tracking down our shipments. So these are all very high-level benefits, which I would say. So thanks again, once again from my side for the support and guidance on this project. We will definitely continue this on our phase 3 again. Eager to work with you on the phase 3 implementation. Thank you, Vinay.
Thank you, Mr. Jigesh.
Thank you.
So thank you, Jigesh and Vinay, for that, for preparing that for us from a couple of weeks or so ago. Again, sort of around the table, you'll be able to see that, yeah, there's quite a lot of detail the guys have had to cover off there to be able to deliver a successful project, as I mentioned earlier, during COVID times, obviously makes that as more of a challenge. So Jigesh, quick question for you that's come up. So what's changed in both your inbound and outbound shipment processes? Because I know you mentioned earlier that you've had to, you know, bring the business with you on the journey with this one. And therefore, not only was there technology change, but also the process change as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, yes, as you said, it was a technology change plus a process change. Now in Zamil, we normally buy the shipment. We don't sell the shipment because we are the operation side. And we have mainly two operations. One is inbound shipment and another is outbound shipment. So inbound shipment basically is used for the purchase order, whatever the incoming materials. So I will first take up the inbound shipment. I'll just brief about the inbound shipment, how we have been mapped, how the systems are interconnected over here. Now from the Fusion, from the purchasing module, we have purchase order line schedule available over there, which each line, what is the schedule of those lines, which flows into OTM for further transportation planning. So this is the start point of inbound process. And from OTM, we do the transportation planning process from our end. Now, as a part of the transportation planning, initially our procurement team will group the items or the purchase orders which need to be picked up from the supplier side, and they will hand over this to our forwarders, whoever is assigned for that particular shipment. So all these parties are using the system. In the system itself, they will assign the lines to a forwarder, and further onwards, the forwarder, we have even indicated the color with that. The orange color indicates the forwarder activities. Actually, the forwarder will pick the materials from the supplier side, and he will plan the shipment according to his or the Zamil requirement plus his availability. He will plan the shipment. So basically what happens is there'll be always two shipments. One is the forwarder shipment, which will be coming up to the nearest clearing point, and from there the broker will be handling our shipment. So we will be creating always two shipment for a particular order, or we can say a particular shipment moving from one country to our Zamil industry. So this will be automatically created at the initial level. Then further onwards, they'll be updating the BOL number. They'll create a group for these containers, whatever is shipped, and they will update the BOL number and required informations on top of it, and they will do the documentation. So talking about the documentation, we have packing list in place, we have commercial invoice. All these things are being captured based on the purchase orders. We does not fill all this filled data. Like these are all, the costs are already available in the purchase order system, which we take into the OTM. So these things are already available. The user need not to do any kind of data feeding for this. Only the data feeding which is required is like the transmission data, when it is being chartered from a port. This kind of data which is really required for our further planning purpose, production planning, that has been filled over here. Now further onwards, our logistic team will get a notification about the incoming shipment from the forwarder and from the system itself, and they will plan further activities of clearance. So they will assign the broker, they will assign who is the coordinator from Zamil side, who will be working on this particular BOL. All these things will be assigned by our logistic team, and further onwards, the broker or the logistic team itself will complete the shipment. Now, while completing the shipment, after the clearance process, we'll be delivering that particular container from the clearing point to our Zamil industrial warehouse. So that time we will be sending an ASN, advanced shipment notification, to the receiving system for the incoming materials. So the receiving system in advance, they will receive a notification and a packing list in the system itself that this is going to receive. It's already departed from the port or airport. So by doing this, they can easily receive it directly in the Fusion. And further onwards, once in OTM, once the shipments are being completed, the invoice will be generated automatically in the system. We call it as actually draft invoice that will contain the estimated cost or the contractual cost. Now, once we receive the actual invoice from the broker or the forwarder, what we do is the logistic team verifies this, and they correct the information based on the actual invoice. Then they submit that to finance, and further finance will verify and they will submit to AP. So these many integrations are also in place. So we are getting one integration at the initial phase from Fusion to OTM for the purchase orders. Then we are sending back two integrations or two data sets into Fusion system. That is, one is ASN and another one is financials to AP. So this is about the inbound shipment. Next slide, please. Now on the outbound side, this is basically for our sales order shipment, the sales orders and the transfer order. Transfer order is nothing but the inter-organization transfers between our organizations. Now, sales order, whenever the sales order get created, it will be integrated with our OTM order release module, and the warehouse team, initially the sales team will give instruction to the warehouse team, and further the warehouse team will plan the shipment in the system. Now here also, if it is an export shipment, there will be 2 shipments will build up in the system. One is for the broker and another one is for the carrier. If it is a domestic level, only the carrier shipment will be created. Now, once it has been planned, we are sending back again an information back to our Fusion inventory for pick, release, and delivery. So there is one more integration in place where we are sending the complete the materials available in the shipment back to the inventory. And here also the same process continues of the invoice. Once the shipment is completed, we are verifying it and we are sending back to AP. So this is all about the inbound shipment. Yeah. Next slide, please. Now, talking about the future plans are like stabilizing the system and completing the, we got some enhancement requests also from the business. So we are completing that analytics. We are building analytics parallelly, completing the remaining phases. The phase 3, the steel sector are going to start, or it's already started. CX layer, then IoT, then robotic process. So these are all the future plans what we have. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Great, thank you, Jigesh. That's great. I'm conscious on time. We maybe just be running a little bit over here, but I think it's a great conversation going here at the moment. Jigesh, just to finish out with you, I've got a question for you that's come that was sort of saying, sort of post implementation, what are the major challenges you faced, and how have you overcome some of those?
Okay, to answer that question, yeah, thanks for the question. There are a lot of challenges actually we faced, because of the mass change in the technology, in the process. Okay, I'll just take one challenge, and I'll tell you how we have overcome that challenge. One of the inbound the inbound process which we have mentioned earlier in the slide, we were having the purchase order schedules flowing from Fusion to OTM. So in Zamil, we have almost 50% of the shipments are partial shipment. That means we are going to get partial delivery, and we get the notification at the last minute from the supplier that this will be a partial delivery. Initially, we will be sending little less quantity, or maybe we are in advance, we are sending some quantity. So what happens is, for this, we need to again change the schedule in Fusion to get those new lines into OTM for our planning purpose. So altogether, it will go through a change order process in Fusion, and it takes time because there are approval process involved in it. Then after approval, it will get reflected in OTM. So this was time-taking activity for us. So there was a request coming from the business to eliminate this, to give us some option within OTM. Now within OTM, we also had an option within OTM of partial release, but that was a little bit complicated for user because they are not used with that standard practice. So what we did is we leveraged the OTM functionality of customizing the process. Actually, that was one of the biggest benefit, actually, I would say, in OTM, which is available. And to be frank, we took some advice from Mastech initially, and we did it our own. And when I say we did it our own, we have only experience of 1.5 years in OTM, actually. Sure. So within that short span of time or short span of experience, we tried ourselves and we did it. We customized this process, and now the procurement team is able to release the required quantity. They are doing always mass release to the forwarder. They're assigning mass quantities or mass lines to the forwarder. So now they are able to select required quantities within the line, and they are able to release these lines within OTM. Now they don't need to depend upon Fusion purchase order and it's a revision process as of now. So this has been handled recently. I think 2 months back we have implemented this. So this is one of the main challenge actually we took up recently. There were many. I'm not going to take all those.
No, that's brilliant, Jigesh, and thanks for that sort of detailed explanation again on that one as well. I mean, that it sounds, the fact you're doing some of these things yourself as well, to a degree, maybe shows how intuitive some of these tools can be as well. Although they might perceive to be relatively complex, actually a lot of it is about the learning and the training, and I'm sure Baljit will pick up on those in a minute. So just quickly, again, as I say, we like to find out reasons as to why people kind of join our webinars and piece. So Deepa, if I could ask you just to pop up the second poll, and Baljit, if you want to get yourself ready, we'll be over to you very soon. So the poll is just popping up now. I think this one is a select 2 if you can. I'll give that another 10 seconds or so. Excellent. Now, I'm really pleased that Baljit's been able to join us. So thank you for giving up the time today, Baljit, and apologies that we're a little bit later than expected. But Baljit joins us from the Oracle business, and as the title says there, sustainability ambassador on one side and a supply chain specialist on the other. And Baljit, I know your journey with Zamil actually goes back many years, so that was probably some of that you probably knew, but I'm sure there were other pieces that were very interesting for you to learn. So let me hand over to yourself now to take us through the next part of the session.
Thank you very much, Paul. And I would say probably it's good afternoon to everyone. So time is always of the essence. So really, thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, we've really heard such a lovely pitch and story on a used case from Zamil as to how they've leveraged the Oracle suite of cloud applications to kind of draw the benefits that we have seen today and heard. And you've seen that how Zamil had an e-business suite, inflexible business platform, and how they leveraging the Oracle's complete suite of applications that we have got on the cloud. So these applications are really complete suite of applications which are designed to build, designed and built to meet the customer's requirements, as you have just seen what Zamil has presented today. And furthermore, these applications are not, I always say this, not to be compared with our e-business suite applications. This is really state-of-the-art business platform, which gives you the agility, flexibility, mobility, real-time information, and all that stuff. So what we've got here is, I know time is of the essence, but we kind of have got not only the complete suite of Fusion applications, but we've also got industry applications, which quite rightly and so rightly so also integrate and leverage the best practices and rich functionality of the Oracle Fusion applications. Now, these applications are also sitting on a very powerful Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So can we just go to the next slide, please? So what I've done is I've turned the slide around to kind of give it a bit more perspective in what Zamil has been, has deployed. So like Zamil said, they're looking for a one business platform, one common data model. So this is exactly what our applications are doing in the cloud. All these applications, be it supply chain, finance, CX, etc., fully integrated really, and give you the one view and the integration that's really required for the customers to kind of have end-to-end business visibility, flexibility, mobility. And plus what we have is that embedded emerging technologies, which is what everybody's talking about, the AIs, the blockchains, etc. We've also heard today that what Zamil has done in terms of the phases that they've had deployed their applications. Now, our Oracle application, there's no strict rule to see what is it that you need to deploy first. Of course, it also depends upon what is the business priority. and of course, what are the prerequisites that you need to have to deploy a certain module or application. But what we've seen in Zamil is just a great example that they started off with phase 1 with ERP, financials, OTM, order management, etc., which is absolutely fine. But we've got other customers who have just started their phase 1 with just OTM as a start, and then build the applications going forward. So before we go to the next slide, I would like to just take like you to take a mental note of the continuous innovation. So next slide, please. Again, these applications, state of the art, new applications, they're really underpinned by our next generation infrastructure, which gives the performance, increased performance of Fusion applications to 30% and faster. And of course, security is of the paramount concern for every business, security at every level. And of course, not to forget the SLA, service level agreements, that have come up from 99.7% to 99.9%. And as customers, that is so very important. And plus, as we have heard from Zamil, that as part of our infrastructure, there are tools that they can leverage to actually build further integration or bring the third-party business flows or applications that are so fundamental to driving their business processes. So next slide, please. I'm just going to recap on what was just said earlier on, how Zamil is just kind of, leveraging the OTM. And I'm just going to pick up on one or 2 points here. Source carriers. You've heard that Zamil had this legacy system, paper system, in terms of capturing those rates, and what, as part of OTM, is how they automated those rates and brought into OTM, then placing the orders and making shipments and integration between order management and inventory. And then, it's just like plan, execute, and settle, and how, the analytic performance reports are so important. Within our applications, we have those dashboards and can configure those reports. And you also heard Jigesh saying, well, it was so great to see that end-to-end visibility of your end-to-end transportation system, your shipments, etc. So next slide, please. So I thought about it, and I said, let me just put this slide in terms of a perfect delivery. Well, we all know when we were actually going through COVID, perfect delivery was of the paramount requirement. Everyone wanted things to be delivered in time. So a lot of our customers, what they did was they kind of take this concept of the perfect delivery. So we've heard once to capture, book, and orchestrate and promise. So you've heard how Zamil, leveraging our order management, inventory, OTM, global trade management. But some of our customers, to complete the perfect delivery, have also used our Oracle Warehouse Management System, plus our IoT fleet monitoring in terms of seeing the estimated time of arrival, the behavior of a driver, the type, the condition of the vehicle, etc. And some of our customers have gone even further because it's COVID times and we were transporting vaccines. So it was very, very important to see the traceability, the genealogy of the conditions of the vaccines that have been delivered from retailer to hospitals, etc. So my message here is, and you heard it from Zamil as well, that once you've deployed OTM in case of Zamil and financials, they have a vision in terms of, it's just kind of, where else can they go and expand the footprint. So we've heard that they're looking at IoT fleet monitoring. And we've also heard that they're saying that, in Oracle Transportation Management, we have freight management, which is also part of their enhanced next phases that they will push on to. So this slide is just saying, guys, you can start a journey from one place to another, but there's various ways you can expand the footprint within the Oracle applications. So next slide, please. So I have just put this slide, and the word that's really important here is customer advisory board. So really the customer advisory board is really a part of Oracle program where customers who actually go live with our solutions, OTM, GTM, warehouse management, they have a privileged or an opportunity with some, qualification criteria. They can become members of this customer advisory board. Now, what this does is actually gives them a privilege to actually communicate, share ideas with like other customers in their businesses. Plus, they get invited to these customer advisory board by Oracle. We have roundtables that they can preview of what's coming in the next releases. And they also have some kind of an influential power to drive the so-called the roadmap, depending on certain criteria. Now, at this juncture, I also like to mention that this is part of the customer advisory board, but customers who are implementing our applications, they have something called Oracle Connect. This is a very good, tool where they can also see or log an idea. And I think Zamil actually mentioned in their roadmap, they have certain ideas that's not part of the functionality. So they need to put in an idea. And they can also see, well, is there anybody out there, a logistics shipper or a provider who's got the same idea as them? If not, that they can log an idea. Now that idea gets voted, and eventually you can discuss that, can it influence a roadmap? So this is really kind of what we give to our customers. Next slide, please. So these are just, I work in the Middle East quite a lot, and I just put a few logos. Of course, Zamil we're talking about, and not to forget, I'm sure some of you have heard about Nadi Medical, again, a great customer of mine, and I love them to bits. They've really got to, a lot of innovation around logistics, OTM, warehouse management, and of course, not to forget DP World, one of the biggest ports in Dubai. So next slide, please. So I said to make a mental note of the continuous innovation in one of my slides. Now, what it means is, and Jikesh actually alluded on to that as well, we have quarterly releases. So, we have quarterly releases, just an example, being mindful of the time. Say, for example, if Zamil wanted to have an enhancement built on transportation planning enhancement, they wanted to do that. And they could say, well, it's coming in my next release, so why should I spend time building it? So it kind of gives them that visibility. Plus, if you're a customer advisory member, you can also kind of say, well, influence the roadmaps, and depending on what the other customers are doing as well. So really, this is kind of a gauge in terms of, making sure your implementation is on time, and also you're not building something which is as part of the roadmap. So, Paul, I think I've kind of done well.
No, I think you've done very well there, Baljeet.
That you've given me, so thank you so much.
No, I really appreciate that, and I know you're a busy lady, but with those various roles and pieces you have, particularly looking after Middle East market as well. So, I mean, for me, that was quite interesting to hear about the customer advisory. I know that Oracle, puts a lot of stall out with its customers. A lot of those new developments actually, come through from customer ideas. So, just going to sort of end with you, Baljeet, on a question. So the question that's come in is, our ERP, let's say our ERP is, say, SAP or Infor or another solution. Could the Oracle OTM application still work, or do we have to have other parts of the Oracle suite to integrate to?
Very good question. So our OTM, and various other applications, warehouse management and other, they are application agnostic. Meaning that what we can do is there isn't we can implement Oracle OTM specifically in this question without any prerequisites of any financials. So I call them, we can surround on the edge. So my first phase can be OTM. Yeah. Okay, so an OTM can also be implemented in our SAP install base. We've got a lot of customers, live customers in the region. In fact, we've just closed a deal yesterday on Saudi catering with OTM on an SAP install base. So definitely, OTM can be implemented in a non-Oracle ERP install base.
In fact, I'll have to speak to you about that one because I
got the
believe
news.
Peter I believe they're one of our clients within Mastec as well. So no, that's really good.
No, I just
That's
got
excellent.
the news this morning. So excellent news. Thank you.
Excellent. Look, Baljit, thank you very much again for that. And thank you to everyone for attending. Jigesh, certainly to yourself. Really lots of insight you were able to provide for us there. So really appreciate your time and effort for that. I'm conscious on the time at the moment. So rather than hand out to the open audience at the moment for questions, if there are any questions that people do have, please feel free to follow up with them later on. We will be providing the recorded access back to the slides and piece that we have shared with you today. So I'd just like to end by saying, Jigesh, Baljit, thank you very much for attending. Vinay, I know you're on project sites at the moment as well, so really appreciate you giving up time as well. And as I say, thank you to everybody else that's attended.